Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm here with an up and coming guitar player, as we say in the biz. I think he's going to do big things. Keep an eye on him, Mr. Mark Tremonti. How you doing, man?
How are you, man? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I have long, I mean, it's not anything that you probably haven't heard regarding your signature Paul Reed Smith guitar, but I have been diving deep into the world of the Tremonti PRS stuff lately on this channel, and I like to refer to your guitar as the greatest Les Paul ever made. And
oh, thank you.
And I love Les Paul. I mean, it's a classic, timeless design, and you somehow kept the best elements of those guitars while adding your own touch. And it's really, in my opinion, has kind of transcended you as far as, you know, there's people that may not even know who you are, but based on the guitar just in it of itself, it's such a fantastic guitar. What do you think? Where do you think that comes from?
You know, I think it was just being picky at first. They said, we'd love for you to play our guitars, and they'd send me all these models, and it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So just kind of saying, you know, could we try these pickups? Could we try this? We could try this knob format, this neck carve. It being picky got me where I was with the guitar. And I'm glad, you know, I just want to just accept the first guitar just because I'm excited to work with Ari Smith.
Yeah. I mean, no one at that time, as I remember it, like they didn't have anyone that was doing what you were doing on like their artist roster. I mean, they had a lot of players playing their stuff, but like as far as like, I know you were like what, the second signature artist for a guitar with them. Yeah,
Carlos Santana was the only other guy at the time. So when they asked me if I wanted just to design my own signature guitar, I was floored. Yeah. One of my best days in my career was opening up that case when I got that first one.
Now, did you get that first one on tour, or what? Yeah. Were you out? Oh, you were on tour, so like you're in the thick of it, and just kind of.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the first one, but I'm talking about the first one that we finalized.
Wow.
I've got it. I mean, I've got it right here in my closet.
Do you still break it out every once in a while?
I don't play that one at all. Yeah, okay. That one just sits there.
It's retired, guys.
Yeah.
That's
it says number one, and got to stay super clean.
Did you ever grow up, when you were growing up, when you were kind of learning in your formative years, did you ever idolize anyone else's, I don't want to say signature guitar in the fact that they had a signature model, but their trademark guitar, Brian May's Red Special, or, you know, James Hetfield's Explorer, or anything like that?
Well, when I was first getting into guitar, I was so young that I was kind of influenced by my brother's music. You know, both of them, one of them listened to Van Halen and Nugent, and Kiss, and my other brother listened to Slayer and Metallica and Venom. But for some reason, Ace Frehley's Black Les Paul was what I wanted.
Oh, that's a good one. Have you ever had a chance to play anybody's actual, like, legendary, and you know, because you've toured and obviously been around a lot of other really awesome guitar players, have you ever just like have that out-of-body experience of picking up the actual, you know, whatever, Cantrell's Blue Dress or anything like that?
I wish. You know, I've been on stage with those guitars. You know, I remember when I was standing next to Tony Iommi's guitar, with all the crosses on the neck fretboard, and I was like, God, I'll pick it up, but I wouldn't dare. You know, I was sitting right next to Zakk Wylde's Les Pauls, and that was pretty trippy. You know, seeing all those right there. And I actually did road crew in college for a Ozzy concert, and
really,
the guy told me if I stayed late, he'd introduce me to Zakk. And then when I ran into him, he said, "Oh, you just missed Zakk. He's on his bus."
Of course, yeah.
He got me to work an extra 4 hours. But I did get to see the guitars. I think I even got to hold it at the time.
Wow. That's super, super cool. That's kind of, that's an interesting, that's kind of the other side of the fence to where what you kind of do with your own stuff, you are very accessible, and you do these really, really cool VIP packages on your tours, most of them that you can, obviously. And there's lots of content and videos and just guitar nerdy stuff where you're constantly sharing what your setup is, what your tone is. When I was coming up, I mean, I'm dating myself as well. In the 90s, it was always like, oh, I don't want to give up my secrets or anything like that. You don't seem to have any of those hangups. Why is that?
No. You know, one thing I'd like to let people know is don't be like me as a kid and think anytime a new piece of gear comes out, you got to go buy it to make you as good as you can be.
Yeah.
It's not about the gear. And
It's
I
not.
learned that, you know, when you're a kid, you have a few $100s here and there to spend on gear. You think buying that 88 one is going to make you sound like Paul Gilbert, but that's
It
not
doesn't.
what's going to do it. So when you grow up and you can do this for a living and get gear, you realize you don't really need a ton of gear. You just need the right gear.
Right.
And it's hard to experiment with that.
Yeah.
Way of doing it.
And also, it took me years to realize, a lot of our idols aren't playing on the greatest guitars on the planet.
No.
Like, it's just, I did a guitar camp. I was a guest instructor at Tom Morello's guitar camp, and his tech was like, do you want to play it? Do you want to play the Arm the Homeless guitar? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And I don't know why I was expecting like the greatest, most meticulously set up. It wasn't
Just
super
a
special.
guitar.
It was just a guitar, and it was pretty beat up as well.
Oh, I remember we were doing it with Whitesnake, and the guitar tech came over. Red Beach came over and said, "You want to play? You want to plug into his rig?" So I plugged into it. The action was a little high. I couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do. I didn't like it at all. And then he plugs in and it's amazing. So it's different strokes.
Yeah, that's I love that about. I don't know. That's an element that I think is often overlooked as far as young players coming up. So that also is a nice segue into your live sound is always constantly kind of evolving, and you are famously a multiple amplifier guy. Like you were always running some element, and I want to kind of talk about, if you can, your MT100 amplifier that I believe you were touring with the Prototype recently.
Yes. That thing is right here. I can't show it to you because they kill me.
Absolutely. But
I got the newest version, and I went up to the factory, sat with Doug and Paul, Rich up there, and we just dialed it in channel by channel. It was already very close, but
sure.
We took the clean channel, add some upper mids, and now it just chimes. It's just beautiful. I took a Dumble in there and tried to get as close as we could on the overdrive on the amp, the 3-channel amp. And then the high gain channel is just already, kind of like the MT15 with, steroid.
But more is more. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It was great to go up there and have Doug just take a capacitor and say, all right, yes, no, yes, no. Just like getting your eyes checked.
That's cool.
You sit up there, you're like, all right, I want it to be a little more present. I want it to have more, I want to hear that pick attack, that squelch. And Paul's a mad scientist, and he pulls everything out, puts everything together. And, sometimes you go backwards and you get a little, there's no language for a guitar player when it comes to the engineering of an amplifier. You just have to use strange metaphors and say, I want it to bite, whatever it is.
Yeah, give me more sauce. What the hell? I don't know what that means. What is sauce? Yeah. So does that mean that you will only going forward, like once it comes out and all that stuff, is that going to be the only amp that you tour with?
It depends. If it works well that way, yes. If not, I'll pair it with whatever makes it sound the best. Because I think no matter how good one amp is, it's going to sound better with another amp paired with it. It's going to fill frequencies that aren't there.
Fair enough.
But it's a great, for a standalone amp, that MT100 is the best amp I own.
Yeah, we have some mutual friends that, and a couple of them, one of them in particular has heard it at your place, and he texted me and was like, bro, this amp, dude. And I was like, damn it.
Who was it?
It was Kevin from A Day to Remember.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, dude, this amplifier.
He came and took one of my Mason Boogie Mark II pluses.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what, the amp game is strong with you and him, for that matter. When you go to describe, like when they first approach you, you want to do a signature amp. I mean, even I guess with the MT15, how do you even describe what you want coming from? Like, what do you even start with? Do you give them sound examples?
I think originally I said I want something somewhere in between a Wagner Rubishaw and a Mesa Butch rectifier in that world for the heavy channel.
Yeah.
Sometimes a high gain amplifier sounds great for rhythm stuff, but when you get to lead stuff, it gets a little sharp and bright. So I wanted to find that delicate balance between something that's going to punch in the gut with the rhythm chunky stuff, and then also be a singy lead kind of thing.
Sure.
And I think we nailed it on that channel.
I can't wait to hear it.
And the overdriven channel, I wanted it to sound like, I wanted this amp to be everything that I had in my house that I would want to take on the road. I want a big, heavy, high gain channel that had with a great lead channel, also a great rhythm tone. I want an overdriven channel that sounds somewhat in the ballpark of a Dumble, an overdriven Dumble. Okay. And then I want a clean channel that sounds like a Fender Twin, just with more balls.
Yeah.
And I think we knocked it out of the park.
That's really, really cool. I mean, that literally sounds like the perfect amplifier.
Yeah, for me it is. You know, I think for hard rock guys it is.
Sure. I
think there might be, you know, if you give that to Robin Ford, he'll just laugh at you. But, I think he'd like the overdrive channel.
Now, I have to be curious. Someone on my Patreon asked if we were to replace all of the power tubes in your amplifiers with the EL34s, how quickly would you notice?
Immediately.
What power tubes are in the MT100?
5881s.
Oh, all right.
So 6L6s have been my tube of choice since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But Paul gave me a call one day. He said, the factory that makes our 6L6s is running out of inventory.
Yeah.
So I want you to try this Russian tube called the 5881. And I wasn't too familiar with it at the time. And I was a little bummed out. You know, I was like, man, we finally got this amp dialed in. It's perfect. I don't want to mess with it. But when he sent me that amp, I was like, I did this to check with, I think Wes House was at my house at the time.
Love Wes.
And we plugged into the amps. And we both agreed right off the bat that 5881 is a more solid, rich group. But EL34s to me are too squishy. I don't know, kind of fuzzy sound. I don't know. It's not
fair.
It's not big and bold and punchy for me.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of bold and punchy, do you have to detune to be heavy in a guitar riff?
No. I mean, you can be heavy in standard tuning. Depends on what you consider heavy. You know? Fast thrash metal is heavy as hell. I don't think Slayer took down, and they're heavy as the heaviest band in the world.
Facts. And also, you can be heavy with something even acoustic, or like, you know, Nirvana, Something in the Way. My original guitar teacher back in the 90s was like, "Is that song heavy?" And I was like, "Wow, yeah, I guess it is."
I remember, what was the band that we came up with that opened up for Metallica acoustic?
Days of the New?
Shelf in the Room. Days of the New.
Yeah.
Great acoustic band.
Yeah, and they were a metal band, were they not? Before they did,
kind of. You know, they were heavy acoustic band, but they were a really impressive band. Wow.
Yeah, they really were. So, do you have, speaking of all this guitar tone talk, do you have a personal favorite guitar tone of yours on record?
I mean, I'd have to say this newest record. You know, as close as we get the most modern versions of the MT100, the better it sounds.
Is that what you used on the record?
I used the MT100 prototype. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've got, I wish I could show you it. I have 3 MT100s in the room. They all have different looks to them.
Right. But
you know what I can show you? I can show you my dream world in here. This is my secret of amplifier. I don't know how I can turn this one on.
This is awesome.
But
you have all of the amplifiers.
I have all of it.
Oh no, you literally have all of them.
So yeah, this is my amp library.
Wow.
So I just like to go in there and look at it. And these are the ones, you know, I've got ones on the chopping block that I'm getting rid of. And I've got you know, just stacks and stacks of amps over here. So I'm an amp collector. I'm not really a huge guitar collector because I have that signature guitar that I love.
Sure.
But with amps, the more the better.
I would agree with you. I mean, this is just some of what I have. Currently I'm doing a thing with the new iconic 5150 and all that kind of stuff. But generally, I have a wall of rectifiers and Friedmans, and I have a Soldano, and
oh yeah,
dude,
I didn't show you in there. I got a pre 500 rectifier. Those
very
are
nice.
really hard to find.
Yeah,
I've got the Revision F's my favorite rectifier.
So, I have. You're gonna hate this. I have 2 Rev Fs. I have a really early dual and an early triple. And the triple, it sounds better with EL34s, a specific EL34, an EL34-2, which is a newer JJ. It's kind of like a KT77, which it has the elements of a 6L6 without the squishiness of an EL34.
I'd definitely be willing to try it out.
It sounds unbelievable, but you have some of the cleanest rectifiers I have ever seen. I've seen is it Rev C that you have?
I have I've got a bunch. I started out with all the Rev Gs back in the day on tour.
Yeah.
And I found that the Rev Fs were my favorite.
Okay.
So I bought a couple of them. One of them sounded amazing and the other one not so much. So I sold it. So I only have one right now. But then I also have the pre 500. I don't even know what that's called. But it's before the Rev F.
Yeah. Cool. I actually just recently, you probably can't see it on the top of my shelf there. It's the earliest Revision E. It's serial, I think it's 524 or something like that. And it's basically, it has the hang tags on it. And it came out of a backline rental place sitting in a box out of LA.
And how's it sound?
Incredible.
The earlier the better sometimes.
Yeah, my Rev D, I have a Rev D, which is I think serial number 200 and something. Really, really aggressive. I think it's the Rammstein amp that Richard Z likes a lot, but they are a little different. The Rev Fs are still the ones that I gravitate towards too as well. And I don't ever want to add to the hype machine, but damn it, they're good.
They're awesome, and the prices are going up. So if you can grab one now, grab it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to post this until after we go ahead and buy.
Get them all.
Yeah, we'll get them all, and then I'll post this video. Okay, so Marching in Time, your newest record that came out, a month and a half ago. You do this thing that I don't think a lot of artists actually do. You are literally getting better with every single solo record that you put out. Save some riffs for the rest of us, man.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Are you just stockpiling just nasty riffs all the time? Like, what? Where does that come
I don't
from?
get rid of anything, unless, I'll sit down and I'll organize all my stuff. And if it doesn't speak to me at the moment, I'll throw it out. But otherwise, I organize them. So at any given moment, if I've got a song that needs a transition or whatever it is, I can just dive into 1,000 riffs. I've got them all organized in BPMs and tunings and vibe. So if I've got a heavy song at 150 beats per minute and drop beat tuning, I can go to a certain file and find it. I can find 100 of them immediately.
That's brilliant. Wow.
You never sit there on your hands trying to finish something. You've got a bunch of ideas kind of waiting to be made.
Okay, so are you still you're probably not using your tape deck still, are you?
No, I use GarageBand.
Okay, and you're just stockpiling projects, and those are organized, so you'll bring up the project.
Well, I don't do it as in songs like everybody else.
Right.
I open up a song file, and I'll have maybe 50 tracks on there, and each track will be one idea. So I'll have a verse idea, another verse idea, and I'll just go from slow to fast all the way down the file.
Wow, that is very organized.
Well, if you, being a songwriter for so long, it just gets overwhelming. I used to write with like Miles and go through those handheld tape recorders and just hope I ran into something that fit. But now you kind of jump right through it.
Sure. Not now. When you're writing, are you actively considering where your vocal is going to go or how you were going to do the vocal? Meaning, maybe that riff is a little too busy to sing over, so maybe I'm going to switch that up or change that a little bit when you're writing for your solo stuff, particularly?
Well, melodies to me are the most important part, so I will immediately write a melody over it. And if it's too busy, if it's just a riff that's too hard to sing over, I'll just leave that has a intro riff or a pre-chorus riff or a post-chorus, it'll find its home. But the main thing that I like to base the song around is a melodic part.
Yeah.
Everything else is not as important. That, if in a perfect world, you write the big, huge chorus first, then work backwards. But you never know how it's going to turn.
I mean, I used to work that way as well. And then sometimes, I don't know, just maybe the intro, the nasty opening riff is going to just tell you where it wants to go. And
yeah,
there's no rules.
Perfect world,
Yeah.
You never know.
That's cool.
People think songwriting can only be done by a few magical people, but it's just this thing. You sit down, you allow yourself to make mistakes for 8 hours, you're going to stumble upon something.
I think that's the biggest misconception about people who do that kind of stuff on your level. I mean, I think there's always this misconception of like, I'm going to sit down and write a song today, and then
it just comes out.
Everyone, the Beatles documentary. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw part of it.
Watching Paul McCartney work out Let It Be or Get Back in real time. Oh, yes, he does kind of sit down and he does kind of bang out a song, but it took him a week to just kind of play with it and kind of so. Yeah,
sometimes it takes you a month of being uninspired. But once it turns on, I think it stays on. It's stop.
Yeah, and then
I think me and Miles always say that as long as you stay creative, it's going to keep coming out. But as soon as you kind of turn it off for a little bit, it takes you a little bit to turn on again.
Yeah, I agree. Although there is the rare occasion where the song just kind of falls out in about 5 minutes. You're like, okay, cool, done. We're done.
How great is that?
Every once in a while, it'll happen.
Sometimes they're the best songs.
I know, right? All right, Mark, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I have one last question from the folks over on Patreon. Do you have any favorite Creed era riffs of yours that you go, that's banging?
I liked the guitar parts in Faceless Man a lot. Probably my favorite all-time musical part for Creed was in the song Time.
Okay.
On the full circle riff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my favorite. But back in the day, I think earlier stuff like Never Die. I like that little first part.
Okay.
One Last Breath, finger style part.
Yeah. I remember I was over at a friend's. I was in high school, and we were watching the Scream movie and that What If riff. And I was like, what is that? I had no idea. No, because I don't think the record was out yet, or maybe the single was just out, or I don't know what it is with the timing, but I was like, where do I find this song? Because back in the day, there was no internet to.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm old.
Yeah, I think that was the second release off of that record.
Yeah. Okay. That riff, it still hits so hard.
Well, thank you, sir.
Man, anyway, Mark, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you hanging out. Marching in Time is out now, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
See you, man. If you liked the video you just watched, please consider subscribing. And if you want to further support me and what I do, consider using some of the affiliate links down below in the description of this video. Go on over to Sweetwater, buy yourself something, and help me out at the same time. It's a win-win for both of us.